Hello there. It's time for you to go on a diet, what we call a 21-day mental diet. Now, the best habit you can develop is to start every day in a thoughtful and productive way that sets you up for greater success in the hours ahead. Here is a successful and effective formula that has worked for me and for thousands of others in going from rags to riches. Resolve to try it yourself for 21 days before you pass judgment on whether or not it is helping you. My promise to you is that by the time you have practiced these behaviors for 21 days, your whole world will have changed in positive ways that you cannot even imagine right now. Starting tomorrow, arise each morning at least 2 hours before you have to be somewhere and invest the first golden hour in yourself and in your mind. If you exercise physically each morning, do this before you begin to exercise mentally. Number 2, before you turn on the television or radio or read the newspapers, take 30 to 60 minutes and read something motivational, inspirational, or educational. I personally like to read inspirational material in the morning because it sets you up for the whole day. Be sure that the first thing you put into your mind in the morning, just like the first food you eat should be orange juice or something healthy, the first mental food you eat should be positive and healthy and consistent with the kind of life you want to lead and the kind of day that you want to have. After you've completed number 3, your morning reading, take a spiral notebook and write out your top 10 to 15 goals in the present tense, exactly as if you've already achieved them. Write your goals such as, I earn $100,000 per year. I weigh 165 pounds and I am superbly fit. Or, I drive a brand new gray BMW. I live in a beautiful 3,500 square foot home, and so on. Rewrite your list of goals every morning without referring back to the goals you wrote the day before. Now this is a very important success factor for you to practice in order to achieve your goals. I've had people in my coaching programs who told me that this method alone doubled their incomes and transformed their lives in less than 30 days. Writing and rewriting your goals brand new every day, every morning before you start off. Plan every day in advance. Number 4, after you have rewritten your goals, take a new sheet of paper and make a list of everything you have to do that day. Then go over the list and organize it by priority and value and importance. When I organize my list, I always ask, if I was going to be called out of town for a month, what one task would I want to be sure to get accomplished? And I put a circle around that, and I start on that as my number 1 task. Resist the temptation to clear up small things first. Plunge into a big, important task and resolve to stay with it until you get it done. This gives you a great leap forward on the day. Number 5, begin immediately to work on your most valuable and important task before you do anything else. Resolve to focus single-mindedly on that one task until it's complete. You see, when you start and finish your major task first thing in the morning during the golden hour, you will experience a surge of energy and elation and confidence. You release endorphins in your brain that will propel you into your other tasks and dramatically increase your overall productivity for the rest of the day. In fact, if you start and complete a major task first thing, you actually trigger yourself into the experience called flow. At flow, you perform at a higher level. You get far more things done. You're more creative and positive. You have more energy. It's the most amazing darn thing. And one of the reasons for high performers is that they do this all the time. Number 6, listen to educational audio programs as you drive around. Leave the radio off. Continually feed your mind with high-quality mental nutrition that uplifts and inspires you to do your best. This is a great way to improve your personal development throughout your entire life. According to the University of Southern California, the average person who drives 500 to 1,000 miles each year. 500 to 1,000 hours in their car each year. That's the equivalent of 1 to 2 university semesters at a leading university. You can become one of the best educated people in your field simply by listening to audio learning programs as you go from place to place. Number 7, finally, develop a sense of urgency. Pick up the pace. Move quickly from one task to the other. Don't waste time. The faster you move, the more energy you'll have. The faster you move, the more you get done, and the better you'll feel. The faster you move, the more in control of your life you will feel, and the more you will like and respect yourself. Resolve today to try the 21-day mental diet for 21 days. My promise to you is that it can change your life.
My first lesson, which is, encrypted in my DNA now, was the idea of working for, pay. And my first job was in high school, and I got it specifically because there was a girl in my grade that I was really interested in, and she got a job at the shoe store in the mall, and I was able to get a job across in the ice cream parlor. And my plan was, when the mall closed down, we could go out, and hang out together, which was a good plan. And so I told her, look, I got a job across the way. And my first day on the job, I'll never forget it, she was in the window putting in the shoes there. It's a small mall. And I was in this ice cream store scooping ice cream. And when people, my first day, it was owned by a woman, I'll never forget it. She says, look, when people ask you for a sampler, here's a little wooden spoon, give them a little sample. But what happens when that occurs, when people do samples, they take their gum out of their mouth and they throw it on the floor. So all day long, gum was piling up on the floor, Mexican tiles in this place. So the first day is over, and she said, you did a great job. You sold $4,000 of ice cream, whatever it was. But now you've got to finish up, and you've got to take all the gum off the floor. Now, at that moment, the girl I was interested in was looking at me, waiting to see when I was going to walk out of the store. And I realized if I get down on my knees and scrape gum, I'm in trouble here. This is not a good look. I said to her, look, you hired me as a scooper, not a scraper. And she said, no, I hired you as an employee. You do whatever I say. I own this store. Whatever I say, you're going to do. And I said, I don't think so. If you want to hire somebody to take gum off the floor, that's a different job. If I'd known that, I probably wouldn't take this position. She said, how about this? You're fired. And I went, whoa, what's that mean? She said, it means you get back on your bicycle, go home, don't come back here. I'll send you for your today's pay. I was so humiliated when I got home and explained that to my mother. She said, you should have done what she asked. And I realized right then, and this is the important lesson, this is one of those pivotal moments. In life, there's two types of people. There's the people that own the store, and there's the people that scrape the shit off the floor. And you have to decide, which one are you? I'm not saying it's bad to be an employee, but she taught me such an important lesson. The humiliation of not controlling your own destiny is evident in that story, because that's the way I read it. I thought, this is horrible. Whatever she says I have to do, I'm not going to live my life that way. I never worked another day in my life for somebody, ever again. Now, decades later, I can afford to bulldoze the whole mall if I want. And I go back there to meet her because I wanted to thank her for that moment for me, that amazing moment where she just reset my whole dial, all my DNA. I just didn't want to scrape stuff off the floor, ever. I wanted to own the store, and I couldn't find her. The store was gone. I hired somebody to find her because I wanted to thank her and help her out for making that moment happen to me. But there's a story that tells you a defining moment for one random person deciding what path they were going to take. Entrepreneurship for me, I've never looked back. I could probably buy a whole bunch of malls now if I wanted. Yeah. It's not that important today as it was back then, but that's what happens.
You are about to hear a strange but true story. Legend has it, Harry Houdini, the master magician, once claimed that he could break out of any jail cell in the world. All he had to do was walk into that jail cell with his street clothes on. I'll be out of there in 1 hour, no problem, he said. Well, a very old jail down south heard about Houdini's claims, and they accepted his challenge. On the day of the event, many people gathered outside. Very confidently, Houdini walked right into the jail and into the cell, and they shut the metal doors behind him. The first thing Houdini did was he took off his coat. Then, very strangely, he took off his belt. Secretly hidden in Houdini's belt was a 10-inch piece of steel, very tough and very flexible, and Houdini started working. In about 30 minutes, that confident expression Houdini had when he walked in disappeared. In 1 hour, he was bathed in sweat. And at the end of 2 hours, Houdini, in defeat, collapsed against the door, which then opened. It opened because, you see, that door had never been locked. But that's not entirely true, is it? That door was locked. It was firmly and thoroughly locked. In Houdini's mind, which meant it was locked as if the best locksmith in the world had put his lock on it. The mind is powerful. How many doors in your life do you think are locked but aren't? How many times have you been stuck in the mental prison of overthinking something that really had a simple solution? There is an ancient African proverb that says, when there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. Your mind is the most powerful force you will ever face. It will tell you lies. It will tell you you can't do that. You're not meant for that. You're not good enough for that. You can't go on anymore. You don't have the energy. You must thank it for its opinion and carry on. Because like Houdini showed us, the only locked doors that exist are in your own mind. The doors in reality are open, and all you have to do is walk through.